And we've known, suspected, I should say, for years, suspected and known for years, that the Republican Party isn't on stage. They are not on the field. They're in the dugout. They're on the bench. And they're just waiting for the coach to put them in the game so that they can collaborate, so that they can cooperate and exhibit their bipartisanship and therefore be treated in a friendly way by the people running the show, the Democrats and the left. Now, they do want to win elections, and they really, I'm talking about the establishment, they really want to win the White House. Because now they've got their Senate committee chairmanships. They've got the House, and they're about to get their guy Paul Ryan in there as Speaker. They get the White House, and the donor class can get its agenda implemented in the first 12 months. Who was ordained, if you will, to be the next president? Who was chosen and declared to be the de facto nominee on our side, to go along with the de facto nominee on the left side, Hillary. That was Jeb Bush. All of the donor money, well, practically all of it, I mean, the vast majority of it, went to Jeb, various PACs, to Jeb's campaign personally. Remember when Jeb said that he had a plan to win the general election by losing the primary? Remember that? Remember we're scratching our, what the heck is he talking about? Well, we suspected and we know. He was going to win the nomination without the support of the Republican base. Well, how do you do that? Hello, donors. Hello, money men. You're my best buddies over here. This is how do we silence these insurgent Tea Party types? We just outspend them. We just drown them in money. It's always worked in the past. He who had and spent the most money on ads generally prevailed. And Jeb was the chosen one. The Bush name was going to be magic yet again. But not really the Bush name, but the Bush organization, all the experts, all the professionals, all the consultants who had been there and done that. Been there and done it in Texas, been there and done it in Florida, been there and done it in Washington for W. It was just waiting to be mobilized again. They had the most money. They had a genteel, soft-spoken, nice guy candidate, didn't ruffle anybody's feathers. And it was just a pro forma thing. Let the calendar play out. Let the primaries play out. Any conservative insurgents as candidates surface, we'll take them out with money. In fact, the more of those, the better, because they will split their money, and none of those candidates will have nearly enough money to compete with Jeb, and we're off to the races. It's just a matter of letting the calendar play out. And then something happened that nobody figured, and it's still happening, and it's called Donald Trump. But when Trump happened, from the first day he announced, the Bush and others in the establishment were convinced that he'd be drummed out of the race in embarrassment and humiliation because he's so uncouth, he's so braggadocious, he's so un-Republican, so unsophisticated, so un-establishment. We won't even have to take him out, they said. He'll take himself out. He'll say something he won't be able to survive, and that'll be it. Or we'll find something in his past. Strangest thing, whatever he said, it helped him. Whatever offensive, supposedly offensive, outrageous thing, he doubled down on it. Support continued to skyrocket. Then they went looking for family baggage, and they can't find a thing other than a wholesome, well-mannered, successful American family. Damn it. So it was time for old reliable. When Trump didn't fade, when Trump didn't implode, and when nobody could take Trump out, it was time for old faithful. It was time to put old standby in full force, and that was to start spending the donors' money on a series of ads, a swarm of ads in early important primary states like New Hampshire. And they did. They have been dominating airwaves with paid ads in New Hampshire for Jeb. In Iowa, it's all over the place. And in the midst of all this, when Jeb failed to gain traction, Trump continued to gain ground, we began to hear scuttlebutt stories, donors getting nervous, donors worried money spent on Bush may not have any return. Then we started hearing the name Rubio as an alternative to Jeb if it didn't work out. Into all of this, Mitt Romney steps forward on the David Axelrod podcast and blames all of this on conservative talk radio, conservative blogosphere, conservative websites, as a bunch of insurgent media that destroyed the legacy media that we all used to enjoy when we all got our facts in the same place. Well, they've thought this for a while. I mean, it's not new what Romney said. I mean, the fact that he said it is what's new. The fact that he's been public. Well, what's caused all this now? And I really, just to backtrack, I really think that full-fledged, real panic has set in because Old Faithful has not erupted. Old Faithful is running dry. The old standby is not working, and that is all of the donors' money spent on these ads. The ads are not working for Jeb. The ads were supposed to vanquish Trump, scare people away from Carson, demolish Fiorina, and extol the virtues of a Jeb presidency and a Bush organization returning to prominence in Washington, and it isn't working. These PACs have literally blanketed New Hampshire with ads upon ads, and all that happened is that Jeb's approval numbers have gone down. There is fury. There is outrage over this, but it isn't aimed at themselves. It's not aimed at Jeb. It isn't aimed at Trump even. No, the reason the ads aren't working, folks, conservative media, me, the other talk shows, Fox News, the conservative blogosphere, we are poisoning your minds with facts counter to the ones they want you to believe. We are the reason their money isn't working. We are the reason their ads are not changing the game. These alternative sources of information, i.e. this program and others, are making you, the primary electorate, not believe their ads. This is the first time this has ever happened. Romney's ads destroyed Newt back in 2012. McCain's ads destroyed Romney in 2008, along with the help of Mike Huckabee. The money has always worked. It isn't working now. They don't have anything else. They don't have ideas because it never has been about ideas. If it were about ideas, these people would be running away with it. If conservative ideas would be running away with this nomination. Conservative ideas, well-spoken, well-articulated, the Democrats wouldn't have a chance, and neither would the other Republicans who were not articulated conservative. They just can't bring themselves to do that. No way, Jose. So they've got to go to the money, and the money isn't working, and it's panic city. And that's why Mitt Romney is lamenting, oh, my God, we need to go back to the days of the legacy media when all we had were the same facts from 3 networks in the New York Times, and maybe some days the Washington Post, depending on what David Broder wrote. And that's where we are. And instead, Trump and Carson are running away with this. The Bush team convened over the weekend. Grab audio soundbite 13, and this is what, if the donors were not panicked, before this. Imagine what they are after hearing this.
If this election is about how we're going to fight to get nothing done, then I don't want any part of it. I don't want to be elected president to sit around and see gridlock just become so dominant that people literally are in decline in their lives. That is not my motivation. I got a lot of really cool things that I could do other than sit around being miserable, listening to people demonize me and me feeling compelled to demonize them. That is a joke. Elect Trump if you want that.
Okay, so wherever the big money people are and whatever they've spent, they're desperately trying to find a way to get it back now, because that's just... I heard it. You can stop emailing me. People going nuts over the Jeb soundbite. Look, I was up against a commercial break. I had to go right into it. I heard him say people are in decline because of gridlock. Folks, this is my whole point here in airing the soundbite. Gridlock is what's causing people's lives to decline. In other words, blocking Obama's agenda is causing people's lives to decline. Then isn't the solution to vote for Hillary? If gridlock, i.e. stopping Obama, is causing people pain, then why even nominate a candidate? Just endorse Hillary and try to hold the Senate and House. If the Democrats' agenda being blocked is what's causing the American people pain, then why doesn't the Republican Party just disband and join the Democrats? Ron Fournier, when he heard Jeb, this soundbite, and this is after a family confab when they tried to figure out what to do. The donors got together with the consultants and they were going to fix this. And Ron Fournier says Jeb Bush broke every rule in one 20-second soundbite. The second rule of politics, presidential politics, never tell voters you got something better to do. He did. The third rule of presidential politics is never tell voters to vote for somebody else. He said, elect Trump if you want that. The fourth rule, presidential politics, man, politics today sucks. The first rule of presidential politics is don't run if you don't want it. Anyway, this after a session of the best minds the Bush campaign has to try to diagnose and solve the problem. I cannot imagine the donors are comforted here. Probably stages of panic that they've never experienced before.